You know that feeling when someone tells you they just want to survive a race, and then they show up and grab the fastest spot on the grid? That's exactly what Cletus McFarland just did at Michigan, and it kicked off one of the wildest weekends NASCAR has seen in a long time. So here's what happened. Cletus, the YouTube star with over 4.5 million fans, rolled into Michigan International Speedway with a pretty humble goal. He just wanted to live through Saturday's Truck Series race. That's it, just survive. But then Friday came along, and everything changed. He hopped into the number 30 Ford Mustang for Rhett Jones Racing for the ARCA race called the Henry Ford Health 200. This was his 8th ARCA start ever. And during qualifying, he did something nobody saw coming. He won his very first ARCA pole. He laid down a fast lap of 38.987 seconds and beat Jake Bowman by just 0.025 seconds. That's basically a blink of an eye. Laney Bowie started 3rd, Connor Mosack 4th, and Gio Ruggiero 5th. Now here's the funny part. Before he even got that pole, Cletus had already hit the wall on his very first practice lap. But he got out of that one okay, fixed the car up, and went out there and shocked everyone. Michigan is the biggest non-superspeedway oval he has ever raced on. That makes the pole even more impressive. Right before the race, he sat down and talked to Fox Sports. He kept it real and said, "Last time I drove a truck, I crashed in 6 laps, so I gotta get out there and survive with those boys. I'm glad I got some ARCA time and can feel a little better about tomorrow." That was the mood going into Friday's race. When the green flag waved, Cletus took off strong from the outside lane. He led the first lap and held off Connor Mosack through the turns. Then Daniel Dye spun by himself coming out of turn 2, and the first yellow flag came out. On the next restart, Cletus and Mosack went at it again. But here is where things started slipping. Cletus began fading. He dropped through the top 10 and even scrubbed the wall during one of his runs. Then he had a scary moment when he came down on Thomas Annunziata while they were 3 wide. After that, Connor Mosack took control and led all the way until the lap 35 competition caution. By that point, Cletus had dropped from the pole all the way back to 10th. Things kept changing. Jake Bowman took the lead on the next restart. A few cars slid around in the middle of the pack, but the race stayed green. Then Bobby Earnhardt spun out, which brought out another yellow. The restart after that flipped the whole race upside down. Gio Ruggiero took the lead from Bowman, and right behind them, real trouble was brewing. Cletus was stuck in the middle of another 3-wide battle. This time he was next to Ryan Vargas. Vargas got tight in the corner and had to lift off the gas. Cletus was right on his back right corner, and there was just no room left. The contact sent Cletus shooting up the track and right into the wall. He clipped Andy Jankowiak, who spun around and collected Jason Kitzmiller too. 3 cars all tangled up. That was the final caution of the day because rain started falling soon after, and the race got called at 57 of 100 laps. After the race, Cletus didn't hide his feelings. He told reporters, "Well, I went out there with the fastest hot rod on the track, as you know, pole award, but I tore it up. I was tight, and it wouldn't turn left, so inevitably, I hit the wall. That jacked it up even worse. Things are vibrating. I got a lot of wheel in it, a lot of pedal in it, and I just can't do anything." He sounded pretty crushed. He said it was super frustrating to start on pole and only go backwards. Talking about the big crash, he admitted he made a mistake. "We were 3 freaking wide. Maybe I should have let that guy have more room and raced another lap, versus bombing in 3 wide. We all 3 crashed. The cars tore up again. I slammed it into the wall. Not good." Even his spotter, Kevin Hamlin, had warned him to give the inside car more space. But Cletus said giving up the spot would have hurt his position. He's still learning that balance between racing hard and racing smart. While Cletus was figuring out what went wrong, 19-year-old Gio Ruggiero from Massachusetts was celebrating in victory lane. This was his 3rd ARCA win of the season, all coming in just 4 starts. He led the final 10 laps and got a great push from Gavin Beauchelet on that key restart. Ruggiero said, "Yeah, it was awesome. Really proud of the number 18 team. They worked so hard. This is such a great group of guys, and it's awesome to win here with my family and my mom and dad." Bowman finished 2nd, Beauchelet 3rd, Mosack 4th, and Laney Bowie 5th. Thomas Annunziata, Isabella Robusto, Will Kimmel, Wesley Slimp, and Cletus's YouTube buddy George Squirrel McNutt Siciliano rounded out the top 10. Cletus ended up 14th, the last car on the lead lap. Now, here's where the story gets even bigger. There's been a long-running fight between Cletus and NASCAR team boss Tommy Baldwin. Baldwin has been one of his loudest critics all season. Earlier this year, he said straight up, he's only hurting himself by doing what he's doing. Baldwin was upset that Cletus skipped the normal steps that other drivers have to take. Most racers spend years in late models and ARCA before they ever sniff a national series. Cletus jumped right into the Truck Series and crashed on lap 6 at Daytona. Baldwin even said, "The guy don't even know the difference between a pro late model and a super late model." That's a brutal jab. But then something interesting happened. Cletus went on the Door Bumper Clear podcast with Baldwin, and they finally sat down face to face. Baldwin made it clear his beef was never really with Cletus, it was with NASCAR. He said, "Cletus don't care about negativity, but these young kids with negativity, it ruins their life." And that's my thing about the process. Then came the real shot at NASCAR. He was just a great example of going, okay, we have a perfect example of how the system is broke. Not Cletus is broke, but how the system is broke. Baldwin pointed out that even Casey Kahn tested 14 times before racing at Daytona. He even did a full race test at Rockingham. That's the kind of work most drivers used to put in. But Richard Childress Racing signed Cletus mainly because of his huge fan base, which means big merchandise sales. Cletus actually agreed with Baldwin during the chat. He said, "To go back on what Tommy's saying, I agree with you. From my perspective, I didn't think that you guys were against me." He even said handling YouTube comments is way harsher than NASCAR critics, so he can take it. And he defended his own path, saying, "At this point, if NASCAR doesn't approve a guy like me to go out and do it, then I can never learn." Cletus has actually figured out a clever way to keep improving. He runs the bigger O'Reilly Series cars, then goes back down to ARCA and truck races. He told Front Stretch, "I think driving when you drive these and then you go back down to like ARCA or Truck Power, it's a lot more fun. It's like driving a slower car faster is more fun. When I went from this back to ARCA, my confidence was just through the roof. It must be working, because he almost won at Talladega in ARCA, finishing second." Now all eyes turn to Saturday. Cletus is pulling double duty at Michigan, both racing the number 4 Nice Motorsports Chevrolet with a bald eagle paint scheme and serving as the Grand Marshal. He'll give the famous command to start engines from inside his own truck before the green flag drops. After what we saw Friday, with that pole, that crash, and that drama, nobody really knows what comes next.